Hey everyone. I thought I'd be waiting longer, but I'm changing my answers on this test here. Uh, I think I think this starts in the morning. Okay. Uh, let's go into let's go into the start of it and how I got to that because this is different. This is a change. I believe instead of starting on 31st, which I've been saying, I actually think it might start tomorrow. Um, And so I'm going to grab this, move it up here for a second, grab it, and then move it down here. Grabby, movie. Perfect. I actually do believe we begin tomorrow, which sounds insane because it doesn't line up with most things. But I have a thing that I have updated on the chart that has made me believe it would. So we have earlier in the chart something called recaps, 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 recaps. And I spent tonight putting in effort into figuring out what recaps are, right? So let's look up DTCC recaps and we get a warehouse schedule for the reconfirmation and repricing service of the NSCCs. Okay. Um, so this is gonna get silly, but um, I'll start with the ending of this, and it is that I think the days in which margin are posted and margin is required are these days. These are the days in which margin is checked, in my opinion. Um, this is a lot. So let's start with a background, right? Of 1 second. So let's start with a background of the structure here, okay? Um, and some words that are going to be like used here for this discussion. The DTCC is the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. Okay, let's open that up. Yes, DTCC. There we go. The Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. Yay! The DTC, which is different, here we go, is the Depository Trust Corp, aka it's just the master ledger or who owns what. Okay, and then we have Seed and Co. Here we go. The Depository Trust Company, which is um, a subsidiary of the DTC, which actually owns stuff. And literally every stock and bond is owned by Seed and Co. It's I, I mean, it traces back to being owned by them, if you believe that. Let's not go into that too far because people will start to get upset that I'm like misrepresenting shit because I don't know that deep. Um, so we also have uh, we also have the NSCC, which is the National Security Clearing Corporation, and then the CNS, which is the Continuous Net Settlement. Okay, um, the continuous net settlement is just a big ass Excel spreadsheet that compiles all the trades at the end of the day and is like, um, this is the net gain, this is the net exchange, and it's just that's the CNS. Okay, so 1 second. OW and recaps. So this has been no, I do not want Overwatch League recaps. DTCC. Hi. Here we go. The obligations warehouse and recaps um is all other trades, and other is a technical term here, surprisingly enough. So why why do recaps matter at all then? Because this is a web. This is annoying. I don't know what I'm talking about with half these fucking corporations, and I'm open to not knowing what I'm talking about. Hell, my shirt is incomprehensible violence, none will remain. I don't know what's going on here, but it's gonna be violent. And no, but okay. So the idea though is that these recap states BTCC recaps, please. This is the schedule for updating the ledger with all other trades, okay? And so if you are out of margin, you would hide it until this day. And if I do a back test here, and I love looking at things like this, Arian, who came before me, had recap days posted. You'll notice that we have the recap day, we have T+1, and on the T+1, we go from, on recap day, we have 28.5 as the low. On T+1, we have 33 as the high, okay? By 48 hours later, we're at a high of 35.8 and a low of 30. So in the 2021 squeeze and in I don't know which one of these this is. There is a recap day here as well. What happens? We actually go down into it, legitimately speaking, but we had already hit 34.50 a share here as a high on the day before, and then on recap day we hit 33.30 a share. And so, hell, if that happens, I'd be overjoyed because I'm exiting this fucking position at 32 if I can. So I'm just gonna like accept that. There is a recap day here, T+1, 28 a share instead of 26 average, I believe. Yeah, we go from 26 point like whatever average to 28 the day after. Is this the day after? No, we go to 28. Okay. Numbers are hard, man. But the general idea is that I am seeing a trailing like possibility of increase on these recap days when they occur on top, and like we had none here. We just had none. But when these recap days overlap with our model here, with these Babe Ruth callouts that Richard used to have, that I have come to the conclusion are based off of the lack of a swap to be renewed or fulfilled here. And I will open my chart. Here we are. We have our little swap callouts. Yay! I even have the little gamma squeeze length here, right? And then I even had like, hey, what's the duration of time until... No, I'd rather not do that. Okay, let me undo that. There we go. We have the duration of time from our red peak to a chart peak. Now, that's actually pink, but still. We have the duration of time that I placed here from the red to a chart peak. And I went ahead and placed this here as well. And like, I was legitimately curious. Well, that comes to the 13th. That's fine. Recap day, right? Because I'm down this rabbit hole. I'm deeply down this rabbit hole. When I find recap day is the 13th here, right? My personal thing is that, how can I say this? We have one that was today. T+1 is tomorrow. If we blow up the options chain, covered call sellers on Friday are fucked into the rally. That sounds very, very tempting as a market maker. I will say this is actually a very common thing. These rallies start in such a way, pretty commonly, like it happens here as well, such that they start on a Thursday, so that the upwards momentum catches out covered call sellers. We do not get caught out here, actually, which is interesting. What's the price do? Nope, doesn't go up massively. Do we catch out covered call sellers here? Here's the weekend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the weekend. But still, I'm under the impression that this may actually be a tempting enough reason, this into this, if I mark it red for a second, this may be a tempting enough reason to start early. And then this may be a tempting enough reason to say that I rallied to 35. And I may actually have a legitimate reason why we go so high when we go so high. Like, it's been a struggle for me personally to figure out where these, go back, adjust, where these dildos come from. Like, actually, what day is this? The 26th of March, 26. March. There is no recap day. Okay, that's okay. I could be wrong. But how high do we go? We go to 29. Let's see if I can find. Now this is just mid squeeze. You know what? We will look. We will look. What year is this? 2024. Let's see if there's a recap day around the 2024 squeeze. This is 14th of May, 2024. May 14th. Well, we have a recap day on the 9th, then we have the 10th, and we go on to 38th and 64, share the 2 days after T+1 of recap. Okay, perfect, because that's the days after recap that we went to 35 in the most recent one, where we did T+1 of delivery for recaps, and then the next 48 hours were fucked. Well, let's see here at the top. Do we do T+1? We do. T+1. We do 48 hours later. 31st. Okay, that's interesting, actually. That's different. Model. 31st. 31st is here. Would we see price appreciation? Would we see price appreciation on this day? Do I want to say the 31st? Like, this is gambling at this point, and I don't mind that one bit. I'm going to say we start on nose on the 31st, because I'm actually enrolled into the idea that this is a possibility which I hadn't considered. I'm going to, I want that to stay. I want that to stay. I want to fix the coloring on my recap days. I want to fix the coloring on my recap days. Okay. Okay, perfect. I expect, because this is phenomenally tempting, to slam us down into the day of max pain, and this is a fairly common thing for us to slam down into the day of max pain, that the movement forward to the 29th as the first day is probably pretty accurate. So, in short, I think, and this is me, I think that recap days, in the previous comprehension of them, was the days in which margin was upheld. I think they correlate. I don't know if they're causated, but I do think that they're correlating with price improvement in the past when they're on periods of time in which there are no swaps. Because when there's swaps, we don't really see much happen. What else am I thinking? And I think this is actually a legitimate enough reason for me to think that we would start early. Yeah. That we would stop seeing downwards momentum starting there, and yeah. Okay. Let's move on to something else then. I wanted to have a discussion about my exit plan here, right? I have a spike up occurring on the 5th, okay? This is a green day for me. All others, I don't think anything of value necessarily happens. I think the 31st we stop seeing downward pressure, because that would be, actually, I think the 29th we stop seeing downward pressure now. And so let's color those yellow, right? We're gonna keep that black text. I believe on the 13th we have, we have a recap day on the 12th. I think the 13th is a T+1 of a recap day. And so I actually think there's a possibility that the 13th is green. I think the 12th, I think all of these days are yellow again. And then I think by the 14th, we're going to get slammed down very hard, okay? And so this paints a different picture than what I thought previously. I'm not willing, and this is me, I'm not willing to try to push all of my order volume through in one day. I just won't succeed. And so I'm going to attempt to reduce for at least, let's say, 5 days. I'm going to try to reduce across 5 days here. I'm going to kill the limit orders. Except I'm going to keep them, actually, and I'm going to keep them at 32 across the board. I'm going to keep a limit order at 32 across the board. I like exiting this entire position at 32. Why? Because at 7, that 7 doesn't fucking matter at that point. But $2 million is $2 million fucking dollars. 10x return on 180K is fucking hilarious, and I would be a main lord for that. But yeah, I'll keep the limit order in at 32 no matter what. If I see 32, I'm probably getting out. In some way, shape, or form. I might end up blowing up the price my damn self doing that, but welcome to it. Welcome to it. I have that privilege sometimes. Maybe you should like get out before I do. And then on top of that, I need to exit over the course of, let's say, 5 days. Let's look at the full model. Let's look at the full model. Yeah, that's a dildo. This is useless. I need a useful dildo. Let's say we stay in suppression. Let's just take a moment, assume we stay in suppression, and that the recap days are not the reason that we rally up into oblivion, even though I'm relatively enrolled into thinking that they are, because the ETF fulfillment cycles in which we don't have recap days don't have a giant dildo on my chart, and the ETF cycles that do include recap days occasionally have a giant dildo on my chart, so I'm starting to think they're correlated. I don't know if they're correlated. I'm just starting to think they are. That's not to say that I think there's going to be a margin call. I don't think there was any reason for a margin call. And on top of that, I think the actions of corporate have been actively preventing margin calls, which is, if you are a shareholder, good. I would rather hold somebody by the balls and milk them for all they've got than, why did I do that analogy? That's disgusting. No, I would rather be doing an orderly exit than blowing somebody completely up, because an orderly exit actually extracts more value for the underlying company and more value for shareholders in the long run, in my opinion. But still, what's this peak day? November 11th. What's this peak day? November 14th. I'm not holding it on the 14th. I am saying I love the idea of exiting some on the 11th. I love that idea. Let's say I color the 11th green. I'm exiting on this day. Let's say I color the 13th green. I'm exiting on this day. Let's say I color the 10th and the 12th. No, let's say I color the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I need to exit over the course of 5 days, not 4. I like the 10th more than the 12th. I like exiting sooner than later. I think I would be 100% happy exiting at whatever fucking price I see the stock at on these 5 days. And so I'm probably going to sell a good 600 of my calls each of these days. And by the 13th, I will have 1/5 of the size of the position I started this with. Okay? Actually, let's move from the 5th. Let's move that back to yellow. Let's say the 6th. Perfect. If I see high volatility, I see like 29 a share, I'm gonna drop my 600 calls type shit, you know. But so let's reflect that. Let's reflect that. Let's say I see 29 on the 5th, and I would gladly take that. I am, yeah, I'll have a limit order in at 29 on the 5th. Every day I'd take 32 all day, but on the 5th specifically, I would take 29. Why? Because getting rid of part of my position represents a reduction of risk to me in this scenario. Each of these 5 or 6 days, I'll probably say, fuck it, I'm reducing a little on the 12th as well. I expect I'm going to be reducing my position every single one of these days. I expect I could even reduce it on the 5th as well, but I'm just going to color these red as well now, and this black, because I'm just not interested at all. It's not even like unlikely, it's just not gonna happen because they're already passed and I haven't done it. So hey, let's delete them. Okay, delete them, color black. Perfect. I don't think this is gonna happen, but if I see it, I'm doing it. I don't think these are gonna happen, and honestly, let's set them all to 30, because no, let's set them all to 29. 30. I think the 5th is a positive event. I would rather see it happen. So keep it at 32 because I would always take 32. Keep everything at 32 because I would always take 32. Understand, on the 5th, it is a large quantity of our upwards volatility occurring. I would take a lower number the day of our upwards volatility for exiting like 20% of the position, 600 calls. Maybe 640 calls or something. I haven't done the math. It's 3,100 over 5 or something is 20%. 3,110 over 5. I don't know. That's 600 to my head. Yes. Okay. Okay, there we go. Green Day. Let's say we do fill color white, right? No, it's not fill color white. It's text color white. Green Day's willing to exit up to 20% of position because I am building an exit plan. I'm building an exit plan assuming that we start tomorrow, right? And that tomorrow could end up being an upwards volatility event. And then 48 hours after that could end up being an upwards volatility event. And this is how I think these recap days are how we go from suppressed to unsuppressed within 48 hours after their T+1. I don't know how and I don't know why, but I'm starting to get enrolled into this prospect. Now, if this occurs, and then we go out of suppression on this day or this day, it would line up. It just would. The 5th, I've already got marked as sneeze day. I have misspelled sneeze because I'm a little bit of... No, I haven't. A little silly, okay? Never said I was smart, just said I was a gambling degenerate. Alright. Cool. This is what I want. This is firmly what I want. Okay. What else have I got? Yeah, let's talk about an orderly exit. Let's go to FAQ. This is definitely an FAQ one. No, it would be top of the data. Here we go. Here we go. Bullish. I would like a new tab under bullish. I'm going to call these. I'm going to call this orderly. Let's call it. I want pre-flight checklist. That's what I want. Let's insert a few rows. Oh my god, browser, please, I love you, but you need to get yourself together. Let's just open a new copy. Let's start like that. Yeah, let's start a pre-flight checklist. Oh, geez. Does that really crash my browser? I love that. I love that this sheet is so large it crashes my browser. That's wonderful. Yes, this sheet is so large it crashes my browser when I insert the rows. That's just wonderful. Maybe I just need to do this on a new page. Let's do this on the FAQ page. I'm going to make some new rows above it. Pre-flight checklist. So, let's talk about rally. What do we want? Let's talk MOS. Pre-flight checklist. Actually, let's talk slow S, because I'm not really... Pre-flight checklist. Perfect. Insofar as I can tell, the order of operations for Tesla was that there was a at-the-money offering, then a bond issuance, and then they did numbers in the thousands over the course of the next few years. When Ryan Cohen talks about having shareholders who are shareholders for decades, I'm under the impression he's not saying that, hey, if you're not going to hold for decades, get rid of the stock. I'm under the impression he's saying you're going to want to hold this for decades because this is going to keep going up. And so let's start with that concept, right? Slow S. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things, right? Make top 5 things. That's easy. 1. We have moved from at the money offerings to bond issuances to warrants. Okay. The first thing is that there are no more interested parties in warrants. Why? Because the warrant deal is better for GameStop than an at the money, just like how it's better for GameStop than a bond issuance, except the bond issuance holds them for 5 years. So the warrants, if I've been seeing this correctly, are being bought up. I would love to see volume. Are being bought up at $3 a share pretty consistently. And so I'm under the impression this is an orderly market and somebody requested this be made for them, or it was negotiated to be made for them, and there is an interested buyer in acquiring GameStop at their orders are $3 a share and the strike price is 32, and so there is an interested party in acquiring GameStop shares for dilution at 35 a share, which is nuts. 35 a share in 1 year. That's nuts. Whatever. There are no more interested parties in warrants would mean to me, it's not that there's no more interested parties, it's that there's no more shorting demanding that we create warrants. Let's write that. It wouldn't be that way. It would be swaps close. Swap theory breakdown. Yeah, it would be that simple. Swap theory would break down. When this pattern dies, and I stop being able to make trades, I am buying and holding so much stock. So much. Let's also talk about the cash per share times 2 floor and the Dorito of Doom. Right? Every time the Dorito of Doom breaks down, typically it's a squeeze, like a sneeze, I guess we would call it. And every time the cash per share times 2 floor, if the cash per share times 2 floor stops being a reasonable metric, then we're finally being valued decently. So let's say that as well. Cash per share times 2 breaks down. Yeah. Like all of my metrics that I used to value this company, in the event of a actual decade-long shareholder thing that I would want to be a shareholder for, and like that's going to happen eventually, Mike, because this is, in my opinion, a orderly exit where GameStop gets the maximum benefit they can manage and negotiate out of short sellers here. This is what I would want so far. I would want swap theory to break down. I would want cash per share times 2 to completely break down as a theory. What else would I want? I would want GME WS are excised and owned by an interested party. Somebody negotiated for these to be made. Somebody's interested in buying these. They're buying them from you at $3 a share. This is for you a $3 a share dividend, or like actually, like if you get more than $3, all power to you. But like as far as I'm concerned, there is an interested party buying these right now at $3, give or take, and there's too much buying pressure there that just reoccurs, in my opinion. Yeah. Order, let's say dilution events break down. We stop seeing fundamental dilution events be mandatory. I'm gonna leave it at these. My pre-flight checklist so far then, for a actual like mega 1,000% rally, 10x in value of the stock over the course of 5 years, would be swap theory breaks down, the cash per share times 2 theory breaks down, the warrants are excised and owned by an interested party. Let's say bonds. Let's add bonds. Bonds are excised into dilution and owned by an interested party. Bonds are locking in whoever was a former short seller into a bullish position on GameStop for a fucking long time. a long time. And so I'm under the impression the bond issuance was made to dilute the stock without creating more short selling. Um, yeah, okay. There's my there's my opinions. Now what happens next? Um, I have been interested in the opinions of Hello Good Trade, and I know he's interested in PMOs. And so let's talk about a PMO cross, right? Let's go ahead and let's add some PMO statistics into here. I would love to see PMO. 1 second. It's not symbol search. I'm a little bit silly. I would love PMO. PMO. Ooh, I do enjoy kitty PMO. Here we are. Here's a PMO cross, right? We have the 1 day. Let's see it. I would like, yeah. Perfect. I believe this is, I do not know his lengths. I apologize for this. I do not know the lengths of time for these PMOs. What are they averaging? But I would want, and this is typically the start and the marked start of a Babe Ruth event in like the standard definition that Richard Newton used to give, is a 1 day PMO crossing above the 30 day. I want to see that. Actually, it's already on my fucking cache. This is what I want to see. I want to see the 1 day PMO cross above. Wow, this is broken. This is fundamentally broken. I'm gonna have to repair this part of the sheet, it seems. Dang. But I want to see a 1 day PMO cross. It might actually already have crossed, but I want to see a 1 day PMO crossing, and I want to see it cross hard. I want to see it cross bullishly, not bearishly, as it's going down right now. Okay. See, I don't really trade off PMO, and it shows, but that is what I want to see. And then let's talk about exit conditions, right? Because I have realized one other thing. Um, Great days for selling are also great days for volume. You'll notice 28 and 14.6 million volume, 27 and 11.6 million volume. Meanwhile, before it, it's 7 million volume. Um, we have Let's go down to another one. We have 45 million. We have 8.8 million volume here at 30. Then we go to 31 with 21 million, 33 with 30 million. And like the more volume they pump, the higher they pump the price. And so I'm looking for high volume days. Okay. I'm looking for the first day that I like start exiting this position. I want over, let's set a number. Let's set a number. I would love to see over 10 million volume. I'd love to see over 10 million volume, pretty simply. Greater, greater than 10 million volume. Sell. Sell some. If I think my trading day is going to go over 10 million volume, I'm getting rid of some. If I think we have way too much volume for the day, if I'm seeing VWAPs up, I'm getting rid of some. That's just how it goes. This is going to happen too fast and too crazy for me to entirely know what's going to happen and what happens before and what happens after. Um, and so I like volume. I love volume as an indicator of when to sell here into these periods of time. I like trading days. I like exiting slowly. I like being measured in what I'm doing. Um, I I don't like I don't like all at once. I don't like calling spikes. I don't like waiting for something to happen to me. I like measured controlled exits. I like measured controlled entrances, and I like waiting for my thesis to start. My thesis starts on the 5th after FTD volume hits. Until then, it's just this is it. I think we're starting though. I really do because there is a possibility here that recaps causes us to start rallying. And so let's set that. Let's set that. Recaps was today. Tomorrow was the last. Tomorrow it was today. Tomorrow was the last day for it. Plus 48. No, it's about when we start seeing. Why did I ruin the colors for this? Oh well. And then we see that for this is the first day, and then we see this for 2 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're just going to drag that down between them. And I'm going to color this. Let's color green. I like green. There's no green, right? No, there's no green. Let's keep it black though for text so it's readable. Yeah. And then these are my exit days. Actually, I want 13. It goes up until 13. Perfect. Okay, these are my exit days. These not the exit days. These are the days in which I believe we could exit suppression. And it is also possible that instead of that, the suppression goes like this, and we just see a spike into the end of Babe Ruth. And like that's entirely possible. From my indications here though, I think these recap days are the reason we are getting these ungodly spikes because they're lining up a bit too well in correlation for me. And that's all. That's the only big thing I think that I had waiting here is that, hey, I think there's a correlation here between the day that it is possible they get margin called and the price going up to 35 a share typically. I think there's a standard set of time between a what do you call it? I think there's a standard set of time between a swap and a peak, and I think it lines up as well with that day as well. I think the 5th is going to see a lot of upwards volume, and I think we're really going to see something here. Yeah, I'll end it at this. Let me know if there's anything I can do to support you, and take care, everyone.